A person's personality can be known by observing their eating habits. Eating is the best way to reveal a person's character because the three major desires of libido, namely the core appetite, are among them. And where a person's desires lie, so does their character. Therefore, a person's choice of food can reflect the structure of their personality and character. The first one is a strong preference for spicy food. If someone loves spicy food, such people often have an adventurous spirit and enjoy pursuing changes and intense sensory stimulation. Because spiciness is a kind of pain sensation. When our body is stimulated by pain, it prompts the brain to release endorphins and dopamine to counteract the pain. Therefore, people who eat spicy food for a long time are more tolerant of stress. And even those who eat spicy food develop a kind of benign self-abuse mechanism. That is, they like to pursue intense sensory stimulation to make their brain secrete endorphins and dopamine. You will find that people of this type tend to be bold, like exploring new things, and are very enthusiastic and straightforward. But their personalities are very fiery, and they are very impulsive in doing things like eating sweet foods, such as cakes. The character of such people is often friendly and gentle, because sweet foods can promote the release of dopamine in the brain, making people feel happy. Therefore, a person who eats sweet foods for a long time makes the brain accustomed to this pleasant stimulation, and their personality tends to be gentle and optimistic. And my personal view is that sweet tastes correspond to the spleen, and the spleen governs thinking. Therefore, people who like sweet foods have vigorous spleen functions. Their thinking is more active, they often have very delicate thoughts, and their emotions are very rich, and they have a very strong sense of empathy and empathy. The third type is those who like bitter tasting foods, such as bitter gourd and coffee, which indicates that this person has a stronger sense of control. Because humans are naturally repelled by all bitter things, and they were often regarded as toxic in the history of human evolution. So if someone likes bitter tasting foods, it means that such a person can overcome their nature and is better at restraining their own behavior and desires, showing a very strong self-management ability. And such people often have a strong sense of control, including why some people like coffee when they are under stress, because the taste of bitterness can make the mood more stable and calm. So it reflects the stability of a person's emotional self. People who like salty foods will also find that they tend to be very decisive, while their personalities are relatively impulsive, and their emotions are prone to sudden changes. And essentially, because salt can raise blood pressure, people who eat salty foods for a long time are more likely to be excited than ordinary people. And it also promotes calcium loss in the body, and calcium can reduce the over-excitement of the nervous system, so it makes people show impulsive personality characteristics. The last type is those who like sour foods. They have a strong competitive consciousness and Qinshu spirit. Why? There is a study that sour-tasting foods stimulate the brain to secrete the neurotransmitter dopamine. And dopamine is not only related to pleasure, but also related to your motivation and the drive of your physical behavior in this action. So if someone eats sour foods for a long time, it will make your brain enter a relatively active state of dopamine secretion, thereby making a person more motivated to pursue goals, and in behavior, he will show very strong Qinshu spirit. So everyone must understand that the simplest way to quickly judge a person's personality is to have a meal with them.